How does a football game result in 14 arrests, 175 fan ejections, and 15 others being treated for injuries? This is the infamous Snowball Game between the San Diego Chargers and the New York Giants in 1995. The Chargers and Giants were set to face off in Week 17, and the game lives in infamy due to what the fans did that afternoon. A major snowstorm had passed through New York the week leading into this game. Not all the snow had been cleared for game time, and that gave fans lethal ammunition. The chaos that would ensue nearly resulted in the Giants being forced to forfeit the game. This was a vital game for the Chargers. At 8-7, a win would secure their playoff spot. Despite starting the season strong at 3-1, they faltered in the next 7 games, ending up 4-7. However, they managed to win 4 straight, and they needed this win to punch their ticket to the playoffs. The story was the complete opposite for the Giants. They entered this game 5-10, so this game would have no importance to them. The Giants got on the board first with a 30-yard field goal. They converted consecutive third downs and marched their way into Chargers territory. Dave Brown then connected with Charles Way for a pass play that got him within the Chargers' 10-yard line. However, they couldn't get 6, so they kicked the field goal for a 3-0 lead. Chargers quarterback Stan Humphrey suffered a neck injury, so backup Gail Gilbert had to take his place. On a punt return, the Chargers fumbled the kick and the Giants got the ball on the Chargers' 23-yard line. Dave Brown would run for a 3-yard touchdown and make it 10-0. The Giants felt bad for the Chargers though, so they also fumbled on a punt return. The Chargers would recover and get a field goal on this drive, making it 10-3. Then the Giants would orchestrate a methodical drive before halftime. Brown would complete 6 of 6 passes, and it was sealed off with a 1-yard rushing touchdown by Rodney Hampton to make it 17-3 going into the locker room. Despite this strong half for the Giants, the second half would not be as favourable, and this is when the storm of snowballs would come falling. As mentioned, much of the snow had been removed, but there was still plenty lying around. Some fans began throwing snowballs at each other to pass the time. The first half was fairly innocent. Fans just threw balls at each other, and given the Giants were up 17-3, they were happy. But as time progressed, more people joined in, and the Giants' performance tanked in the second half, so snowballs were ending up in the field. The snow had also frozen, which made them extra hard. Chargers players even kept their helmets on when they were on the sideline to protect themselves. On the opening drive of the second half, a Giants fumble put the Chargers at the Giants' 38-yard line. They made the most of this possession and rushed into the end zone for an 8-yard run. The score was now 17-10. On the Giants' next drive, another miscue as they'd miss a 42-yard field goal. The Chargers would then convert 2 fourth downs on a fourth quarter drive and get the next points on the board with an 8-yard rush by Culver. It was now 17-17 with 9 minutes and 9 seconds remaining. Then Sid Brooks, who was the Chargers equipment manager and had served with the Air Force in Korea and Vietnam, was knocked out for 30 seconds because he was hit square in the face with a snowball. Well, it was more like an ice ball. He had this to say: "I'm only angry at one person, and that's the guy who threw it from the upper deck. I'd like to see him come up to me face to face and be a man and do it." Head referee Ron Blum actually stopped the game in the fourth quarter to have announcer Bob Shepard inform the fans that New York would forfeit the game unless the snowball stopped. The fans didn't listen though, and there was actual serious consideration for forfeiting the game, which would have been a first in NFL history. Even Giants coach Dan Reeves said he wouldn't have argued against that. However, the snowballs did slow down as the game progressed, and the ref felt it was safe to play on. The Giants would receive the ball on a short kick at their own 47. They moved down the field and were at the 9-yard line, but Hampton was stuffed and lost 3 yards on the play. The next play was, well, unfortunate. Giant safety Sean Gale picked off Brown at the 1 and returned it for a 99-yard touchdown. As he returned the interception, snowballs ceremoniously were hurled at him, but none were able to connect. The Chargers had now scored 21 unanswered points, and Brown would make another mistake. On the second play of the next drive, he fumbled the ball. The Chargers ran down the clock as much as they could and sealed it off with a field goal with 3 minutes and 37 seconds remaining. The Giants wouldn't be able to mount any kind of comeback, and the Chargers would win 27-17. Despite the incredible final stretch of the regular season for the Chargers, they would go on to lose to the Colts in the wildcard round. So the aftermath of the snowball fight was 10 security guards injured, 14 arrested, and 175 removed from the stadium. One man would unfortunately carry the load for many others. An Associated Press photographer took a picture of a man throwing a snowball, and the Giants actually offered $1,000 to identify him. And identify they did. It was 26-year-old Jeffrey Lang. In April 1996, he was charged with improper behavior and received a fine of $650. He argued he was being scapegoated, he would appeal, but lose, and he actually even lost his job because of this incident. The Giants were so ashamed that they actually took out a full-page ad in the San Diego Union Tribune to apologize to the Chargers. And even worse, they revoked 75 season ticket holders, regardless of who was in those seats, for throwing snowballs. They identified those seats by using the ticket stubs recovered by the stadium security when the offenders were ejected. The season ticket was revoked, even if it wasn't you and say you lent the ticket to somebody else.
Yeah, I think it's a little too harsh, because it really isn't fair to them. They weren't there.
The following day, the Jets were set to play the Saints, so they wanted to make sure every bit of snow was removed before kickoff. The Jets, no surprise, were 3-12, and so a similar incident wouldn't be out of the question. However, they managed to clear the stadium, the Saints won 12-0, and there were no snowball fights. So if you ever find yourself at a stadium with some snow, you know what not to do. Alright, thanks for watching.